this is Arthur again. Today we're going to take a look at this 2005 Mercedes C55 AMG. It is pewter with black interior. I think this color looks great on mid-2000s Mercedes models. This one has the 5.4 liter M113 AMG engine, 349 horsepower. Does have the AMG seats, AMG steering wheel. Does have buttons for the shifter. Has 145,000 miles, 200 miles an hour speedometer. This car came here for alternator replacement, which is going to take a quick look. So the AMG spoiler in the back. The color is a little bit faded here and there, but overall the car is in pretty good shape. Has 20-inch AMG replica, I'm guessing, wheels from a S-Class. The owner said he was gonna switch back to 18-inch wheels. I'm gonna open the hood and go over the alternator replacement. C-Class is usually pretty easy to replace the alternator since the V6 engines that it came with, C240, 320, 280, and 350 are pretty small, and they're pretty easy to replace. However, on the 55 version, since the engine is pretty large, it's not much access to get to the alternator. So for that reason, what I did, there's not really too much information online on how to remove the alternator. So I did it, and I didn't have to disconnect any of the coolant hoses. Remove this cover. I removed these bolts that hold this bracket, remove this part, remove the grill, remove the horn, undid this cooler and this bracket from the bumper support. This whole piece comes out. You don't have to disconnect the latches, you can just move it to the side on top of the engine. And then you remove the belt with a 16 millimeter. You have to remove the fan, which comes out. It does take a couple minutes of wiggling around. Usually this side, you move it back and it clears this hose and you are able to pull it up. You have to disconnect one plug underneath. You can do it either from top or from the bottom. If you don't have a jack or you don't lift, it's easier just to do it from top. And then this alternator is held by two bolts, E14s. You gotta undo those, and then there's one 13 millimeter in the back and one plug. Then you have to undo, it's hard to see, but there's this little two black plastic clips that hold this coolant hose. You undo these hoses, the clips, and then you move bracket to the side. The bracket connects under the bolt to the alternator, so once the bolt is out, the bracket is loose pretty much, so it can move. And then this alternator, you have to move it around a little bit, but once you position it like this with a pulley up, it will actually come forward, and you turn it around and it does come up, and you don't have to remove any of the coolant hoses or disconnect them. Then going back is the same way. You move those hoses to the side, and then you slide it down, and then pulley up position, you move it in, and then slide it in place. This openings where the alternator lines up is a little bit tight, so what you want to do is one side first and put a bolt in or a pin in, and then push in the other side. You might have to use like a long screwdriver or breaker bar a little bit to push it in. And also another tip over here, the top bolt, you would want to put that one in first. Find the thread, don't tighten it all the way down, because the way this timing cover is over here on the back, it has this separate ear, and that one is prone to breaking on these engines, this 112, 113 engines. So when you're doing alternator, you have to be very careful to do the first bolt, top for bolt first in, and then the bottom one. Then once both threads are cut up, then you tighten both in. And you put your belts back on. Of course, in the beginning you gotta remove your battery terminal. It's just located right there. And other than that, then you just go back, put your fan back on, and the support, rear support bar back in, and that's it. Pretty much, you're done. Next, we're gonna lift up the car and take a look at it from the bottom. Okay, let's take a look at the bottom of this C55. Let's go start from the back. You can see the quad exhaust. These are by far my favorite type of AMG exhaust they had in mid-2000s with quad oval tips. I think they look the best. Here's the AMG diff with a cooler. I don't think these are limited slip, any of the C55s. Does have springs, no air suspension on the C-Class. The rear GUI ball looks a little older, but it's not really cracked, so it's fine. It's one beefy exhaust pipe running through almost all the way back. I'm not sure what's going on with the transmission mount. Is it supposed to be crooked like that or no? I haven't noticed on other models to be like this. I don't know if it's not positioned correctly. It might be the other way around. I'm gonna let the owner know, see if he wants me to check it out. It does have new control arms and tie rods installed, both sides in the front, and this car also needs new struts and shocks. This one has Megan coilovers on it, but I think they're not good anymore. As far as the alternator replacement goes, there is nothing really that needs to be done from the bottom other than this plug that needs to be unplugged for the fan, but that can be done from the top too. So if you don't have access to a jack or lift, you don't really have to jack it up. Okay, thank you for watching. Please comment, like, and subscribe. More videos to come. Okay, here is the mount support bar corrected. It was sitting the other way around. Now it sits nice and straight.